Breaking, identity shift, locker room, tactics, Jan window. But teams a behind-the-scenes twist, a setback that tests the defense's soul, a bold tweak to supercharge the offense, and a quiet answer in the trenches. No exaggeration, each point shakes expectations, hierarchy, and how we close tight games. There's a hot name on the market, a medical decision that changes rotations, a strategic green light for our field general, and a veteran silencing critics. Is this the day that defines 2025's identity? You won't believe what we've got today. So get comfy, drop a like, and let's jump straight into it. There's a quiet move brewing that could reshape the spine of the defense, and it's no stretch to say it involves a piece capable of altering entire third down packages. No panic, but a raised eyebrow. The staff opened a window to reinforce versatility and protect the end zone against physical offenses. A recently released veteran is on the radar, the kind who plays in the box, pressures the quarterback, covers the flats, and still brings value on special teams. It's a profile that fits what this coordinator loves: controlled aggression, the right angles, and the smarts to disguise intentions. And when that kind of name hits the market, you scan the landscape, update reports, and ask, is the tweak worth it? Fit check, depth chart, role clarity, Derwin freedom, no visit, no offer. We're talking about Jabril Peppers, who hit the market after his late August exit from New England. The Chargers' interest for now is labeled exploratory, consistent monitoring, updated scouting, and no scheduled visit or formal offer. That tracks with the current picture in the secondary. Derwin James Jr., Elijah Molden, and Alohi Gilman form the base trio, while R.J. Mickens and Kendall Williamson sit behind them, still earning reps. In an internal note on the 53, the staff doubled down on using James with freedom near the line, while Molden and Gilman take more deep responsibility. That setup begs, in specific situations, for a box-time hybrid to shrink windows over the middle, lock onto physical tight ends, and threaten blitz without blowing up the structure. Based on his track record, Peppers fits that puzzle and offers experience for situational packages, not to arrive as a savior, but as a piece that widens the coordinator's margin for creativity. Big nickel, blitz packages, screen discipline. Los Angeles leans on big nickel and three safety looks that confuse quarterbacks and let you spin the dial without telegraphing coverage. With James near the line, you get a defender who defeats blocks, squeezes gaps, and can carry a slot for a few steps before handing off help. To sustain that for 4 quarters, you need another trustworthy body who blitzes with timing, sniffs out screens, and cuts off angles to the perimeter. Peppers fits, physical tackler, fast closer, plenty of special teams mileage, gold in September when versatility gets taxed. In practice, he'd compete for situational snaps, expanding Minter's freedom to deploy Derwin right where it hurts the opponent most. Contract structure: for the player, the market opens on the cusp of the season. Picking a system that values multiplicity could mean sustained snaps. For the Chargers, the math is straightforward. With R.J. Mickens and Kendall Williamson developing, a veteran who embraces a defined role creates insurance without freezing the rotation. Fans are already weighing in. If it frees Derwin to hunt more, I'm in. Just don't block snaps for the young guys. That's the right conversation. Raise the ceiling without losing the base you just built. For now, it's monitoring with no visits scheduled. Peppers remains a free agent. If it happens, it's to widen the tactical margin on third down. And that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. Few things drop a fan's stomach like watching a defensive starter limp off in a walking boot with a diagnosis that screams weeks, not days. That's exactly what happened with Denzel Perryman after the battle against the Kansas City Chiefs. The linebacker suffered a high ankle sprain, the kind that rarely resolves quickly. According to Ian Rappaport, the recovery window sits at 4 to 6 weeks. That's not a footnote. It forces a deep reshuffle in a unit that already took a significant hit. Anyone watching the broadcast in Brasilia saw it. Perryman's expression, the boot on his right foot, the medical staff around him. Optimism was never going to fit here. The official label is week to week, but let's be real. Injured reserve with a return designation is on the table. If that's the move, the Chargers lose their midfield tone setter for at least a month. The question becomes, who grabs the enforcer role? The hitter who commands communication and anchors the run defense. Against the Chiefs, the first answer was Troy Dye. A depth label, sure, but a player who knows the system and brought energy. There's also the feel-good storyline of Marlowe Wax potentially getting a shot. Picture it, a lightly regarded youngster taking on heavy snaps at the most delicate moment. That kind of turn can flip the narrative, jolt the locker room, and rally the fan base. But romance comes with responsibility. Stopping division foes like the Raiders and Broncos demands more than enthusiasm. The backdrop makes it tougher. Junior Colson is already done for the year. That elevates Dian Henley as the natural leader in the room, while demanding instant maturity. Henley has the traits to cover sideline to sideline, but he needs to grow as a communicator. How he meshes with Dye and maybe Wax will determine whether the Chargers can survive with internal solutions alone. If not, it's no stretch to imagine the front office canvassing veteran options. The fan debate is already heated. We need experience now versus trust the kids. Let's see what they've got. The dilemma is real. Losing Perryman isn't just tactical, it's emotional. He's the linebacker who sets the tone, roars after tackles, lights a fire under teammates. Pull him off the field and it's like lowering the defense's volume. The staff has to offset that with leadership adjustments, maybe splitting responsibilities between Henley and James to keep the intensity up. And that's where Harbaugh's experience gets tested, making fast decisions, tightening rotations, and holding the group together. The shock is heavy, but there's still room to turn pain into opportunity. The question is, are the replacements ready to carry this weight? Because what comes next is even harder to believe. Some days rewrite how you see a quarterback. In the last game against the Chiefs did exactly that for Justin Herbert. Sure, the passing numbers were already dazzling. 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, north of 73% completions, and a rating over 130. But the detail that made fans spring out of their seats was something else. Confidence with his legs. That 3rd and 14 run to ice the game was the moment the defense realized there was no escape. And it wasn't an accident, it was the plan. Here's a peek behind the curtain. In the offseason, Greg Roman flew to Oregon for private meetings with Herbert. The theme, how to unlock an even more complete version of QB1. And per Albert Breer at Sports Illustrated, that's where the green light came through for Herbert to run more. The logic is simple. If Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes can crack defenses with timely runs, why not leverage Herbert's athletic intelligence? Ironically, even while limited by injuries in 2024, he posted a career-high rushing total. Now healthy, the field feels wide open. Roman didn't hold back. He called the performance MVP level. He emphasized it's not just precise throws, but the demoralization when a defense does everything right, only to watch the quarterback rip off another first down with his legs. The sweetest part for Bolt Nation, it happened against Mahomes, who's tormented opponents with identical back-breaking plays. The role reversal was palpable. And the fans noticed. Comments flooded timelines. Herbert's playing freer than ever. That QB run threat is the missing ingredient for a Super Bowl push. That's not just passion, it's sound tactics. Defenses now have to respect not only the rocket arm, but also the possibility of a scramble at the critical moment. That alters linebacker depth, keeps safeties honest in zone, and creates space for receivers to attack across the field. The strategic impact goes beyond the box score. Simply being respected as a runner lets Roman redraw 3rd down calls, mix in more bootlegs, sprinkle selective read option looks, and seed hesitation. If the defense hesitates for a heartbeat, the cannon is still there, ready to punish. It's like adding a second weapon to an arsenal that was already feared. A healthy Herbert with the green light to use his legs is a nightmare for any defensive coordinator. And while many are still digesting what happened against the Chiefs, the real question lingers. Are we watching the season? Herbert cements himself as a top-tier MVP candidate. Believe it, the most unbelievable part might still be ahead. Football can be cruel to off-season narratives. A player singled out as a problem becomes the pleasant surprise in Week 1. That's exactly what happened with Bradley Bozeman in the win over the Chiefs. After months being picked apart as a weak link, he turned in one of the steadiest performances on the interior, holding up against none other than Chris Jones, an acknowledged monster of the league. And it wasn't just doing the job. He put out a highlight reel rep that even drew praise from former elite tackle Andrew Whitworth, flashing technique and resilience. Context makes it louder. In a polarizing call, Jim Harbaugh named Bozeman a captain and didn't bring in direct competition for the starting job. Plenty of fans protested, how do you trust someone who struggled so much in 2024? Yet in this opening chapter, the coach's bet paid off. Bozeman didn't just hold firm, he neutralized pressures that could have flipped the game. For a team that must buy Herbert time, that's a massive difference. Another key detail, he did it amid instability. Nicky Becton, lined up beside him, was in and out due to illness. In other words, the line chemistry wasn't pristine, but Bozeman kept the communication tight and the offense on schedule. The same fans who saw him as a liability are asking a new question. Did we underestimate the veteran? Reactions are everywhere. Harbaugh knew something we didn't. If Bozeman keeps this up, good luck stopping this offense. That doesn't erase doubt. Consistency is earned week by week, but the first sample was encouraging. It's the sort of turn that reshapes narratives and locker room dynamics, from criticized to a resilience example. In the end, that's the takeaway. The Chargers need unlikely heroes to sustain a long campaign. If Bozeman turns doubt into reliability, Herbert plays freer, Roman runs his playbook without handcuffs, and the offensive line becomes the foundation piece. And let's be honest, if the trenches start answering like this, who dares to doubt this team is building something special? Today we saw a Chargers team that doesn't flinch from hard choices, that turns uncertainty into advantage, and that finds answers where others only see doubts. Monitoring Peppers widens the tactical menu. Perryman's injury demands instant maturity and may reveal new leaders. Herbert, with the green light to run, changes every defensive calculation. Bozeman, from target to tone setter, signals a more reliable line. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these points shifts your confidence for 2025? Drop a comment, share the video, subscribe, and hit the bell. We're back tomorrow. Bolt Nation doesn't slow down.